If I ever found a second phone, I always figured it would mean my wife was having an affair. I was wrong. The truth was so much more complicated and 1,000 times more devastating.
Everyone thinks they know what betrayal feels like. You picture the late-night texts, the flimsy excuses, the scent of someone else's perfume. Honestly, I almost would have preferred that. An affair is a fire. You can either put it out or let it burn everything down, but at least you understand the flames. What I found was something else entirely. It was a secret, parallel universe running right alongside my own, hidden in plain sight for 15 years. My wife, Sarah, the woman I built my entire world with. She wasn't just unfaithful. In a way, she was fictional. And I was married to a ghost.
Our life was perfect. That's the only word for it. We had a beautiful house in a quiet suburb, 2 cars, and a love that felt comfortable, like a well-worn armchair.
We'd been married for 15 years, and I thought I knew everything about her. I knew she hummed when she got nervous. I knew she preferred coffee but would drink tea just to use the porcelain cups her grandmother gave us. I thought I knew the story of every scar, every victory, every childhood memory.
Turns out, I just knew the story she told me. The real story was locked away, waiting for me on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. Sarah traveled a lot for work. She was a marketing consultant for a high-end firm, a demanding job, but it paid for our comfortable life. The trips were always to the same few cities, just short 2 or 3 day bursts. I never questioned it. Why would I? I was proud of her career. But there was always one little thing that nagged at me: her travel bag. It was this sleek black roller bag she'd had for years, and she was weirdly possessive of it.
She always packed it herself, in the spare room, with the door shut. She'd just laugh it off and say she had a system and I'd mess it up. It was just one of her quirks. I accepted it.
That Tuesday, she'd just gotten back from a trip to Northwood, a city about 3 hours away. She was tired. After a quick kiss, she went to take a shower, leaving the travel bag in the hallway. Usually she'd unpack it the second she walked in, but not this time.
I don't know what made me do it. Maybe a flicker of curiosity, maybe the universe deciding my time living in blissful ignorance was up. I knelt down and unzipped the front pocket.
I was just going to grab her receipts for our tax folder.
But my fingers brushed against something hard and smooth under the papers. Not a wallet, not a glasses case. I pulled it out. It was a smartphone, an iPhone, almost identical to her regular one, just an older model. My heart immediately started hammering against my ribs. A second phone. The cliché of all clichés. The cheater's essential toolkit. Every story, every movie, it starts with this. An icy nod formed in my stomach. My first thought was a name. David. Some guy from her office she'd mentioned.
Was it him? Were our 15 years together really going to end in this pathetic, predictable moment?
For a full minute, I just stared at the black screen, my mind racing. I could go upstairs, barge into the bathroom, and have that confrontation you see in movies. But what if I was wrong? What if it was just an old phone she forgot about? No. I pressed the side button and a little battery icon glowed. It was charged. It was active. I stood up and walked into my home office, closing the door. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold the phone. I had to know. The screen lit up. Enter passcode. I tried the obvious stuff first. Our anniversary, my birthday, her birthday. Nothing. Access denied. A wave of frustration mixed with a sick kind of relief washed over me. Maybe I wasn't meant to know. Maybe I should just put it back. But I couldn't. The seed was planted. I sat there, thinking. What numbers mattered to her? Then it hit me, a thought so dark and morbid. Her mother had passed away about 10 years back. It destroyed Sarah. It was a wound I knew never really healed. I remembered her mom's birthday. It was a long shot, but I typed in the 4 digits. The phone clicked and vibrated. Unlocked. A chill went straight down my spine. Who uses their dead mother's birthday to lock a secret phone? It felt less like a password and more like a warning. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the affair I was about to uncover. I wasn't even close to being prepared for the truth. Opening that phone was like stepping through a portal. I was braced for flirty texts, explicit photos, hotel confirmations for 2. What I found was infinitely more organized, more mundane, and 100 times more terrifying. There were no saved contacts, just a list of recent calls and texts to unsaved numbers. I opened the messages. The language wasn't passionate or secret. It was logistical. It was domestic. Don't forget Liam has his dentist appointment at 4. Copay is handled.
Chloe needs new sneakers for gym, size 4. Can you grab them?
Parent-teacher conference is Thursday. I RSVP'd for us.
Who were Liam and Chloe? My mind scrambled for an explanation. Nieces or nephews I'd never heard of? Friends' kids she was helping out? But the messages were too frequent, too intimate in their ordinary household way. There was a whole thread about a leaky faucet, complete with pictures. Another one detailed planning a kid's birthday party, right down to the flavor of the cake. My hands were cold now, the shaking gone, replaced by a deep, unsettling stillness. I went to the photo gallery. My breath caught in my throat. The first picture was Sarah, standing in a sunny park, her arm around a young boy with bright red hair, maybe 10 years old. In the next photo, she was with a little girl, maybe 7 or 8, with big brown eyes and a gap-toothed smile. Liam and Chloe. I scrolled frantically. There were hundreds of photos. School plays, soccer games, holidays. Christmas morning around a tree I'd never seen, in a living room that wasn't ours. Halloween costumes, first days of school. An entire childhood documented, starring my wife as the loving mother. And in some of the photos, there was another man, mostly in the background, but sometimes with a hand on a kid's shoulder. He looked tired, sad, but familiar. It took me a second. It was Michael, her younger brother. I hadn't seen him in years. Sarah told me he'd moved away after a personal tragedy and they weren't really in touch. Just another lie. But the worst part was seeing Sarah. In these photos, she was a different person. There was a light in her eyes, a casual, lived-in exhaustion I hadn't seen in years. This wasn't the polished marketing consultant. This was a mom. She was in old sweatshirts, hair in a messy ponytail. She was laughing, truly laughing, in a way I hadn't seen in years. I was looking at a complete life, a life that didn't include me. I opened the calendar. It was a mirror of her work calendar, but the labels were different. Her marketing summit in Northwood? That was Liam's spring concert. A client meeting was actually Chloe's birthday party. Every single trip, every late night, every absence from our life was a presence in theirs. For 15 years, she hadn't been climbing the corporate ladder. She'd been raising a family. The room started to spin. This wasn't an affair. An affair is a detour. This was a whole other highway, paved and maintained, running parallel to my own. The betrayal was so much deeper than I could have imagined. She hadn't just cheated on me. She had created an entire second life, and she had hidden it from me for our entire marriage. The woman I loved was a stranger. And I had been living with her for 15 years, completely and utterly blind. The world shrank to the size of that phone. I don't know how long I sat there, scrolling through a life that wasn't mine.
my wife's face smiling back from a world I was never meant to see.
The shock had burned right through the anger, leaving this hollow, echoing numbness. You can't scream about a betrayal like this. It was too big, too complex. It was a lie that our entire reality was built on. I didn't just lose a wife. I lost 15 years of my own life to a story.
I heard the shower turn off upstairs. I placed the phone on my desk, screen up, opened to a photo of her, Michael, and the kids at a birthday party.
Then I went downstairs and made coffee, my movements slow, robotic.
When Sarah came down, she was in a fluffy bathrobe, a towel wrapped around her hair. She was humming that nervous hum. She smiled when she saw me.
Hey, you! I was just about to get dressed. Feel like dinner out? I didn't answer. I just looked at her. Really looked at her. Trying to see the woman from the photos, the mother with the tired eyes and the real laugh. All I saw was the stranger I'd woken up next to for 5,475 days.
What is it? She asked, her smile faltering. You're looking at me like you've seen a ghost.
Maybe I have, I said, my voice eerily calm. I have some questions for you, Sarah, in the office.